Okay, what is enum? So now you've seen struct. So the difference between an enum and a struct is basically enum allows you to define a type by enumerating its possible variants. Okay, so you can have different variants for a particular value, and this can be actually shown using an enum. Basically, like you can imagine it similar to the IP address version. So you might have heard IP address has got two different kinds of version, version 4 and version 6. In IPv4, we have a different set for the IP address, and in IPv6, we have a different set for the IP version 6. So in order to define something that are actually a like it is a list of different data types or a list of different types that you need to specify inside a particular abstraction or an entity, then we use an enum. Okay. So enums give you a way of saying a value is one of a possible set of values. So this is not like creating a struct. In a struct, we know, okay, we have to encapsulate these much number of data items of these kind of data types into the particular struct. But in enum, we actually show the different possible set of values that we can give for the particular enum. Okay. For example, we might want to say that rectangle is one of the set of possible shapes. So if you create an enum shape, then you can have different a set of values that could include a struct rectangle, a struct circle, a struct trapezium, anything. Okay. So if you create an enum shape, then you can hold different structs inside the enum as well. Now to do this, Rust allows you to encode these possibilities as an enum. So enums are very useful when it comes to the different set of possible values for a particular entity. Now this also comes under the part of object-oriented programming in Rust. Okay. So yeah, this was the example that I was talking about. Enums IP adder kind, you can use v4 and v6. Okay. So if you now how to access this? Okay. How to access a particular enums value. So when you create a variable, let 4 is equal to IP adder kind, and then you need to use colon and then v4. Okay, colon and then v4 needs to be used in order to access v4 from the enum. Okay, think the idea is clear. Now we'll see a simple example. Enums. Yeah. So here we have created an enum IP adder kind with v4 and v6, and we have created the struct IP adder, which contains two things: the IP adder kind and the string. Okay. So my struct will contain the first thing as the IP adder kind and then the IP address. So we need to know first what is the type. That is if it's a version 4 or a version 6. And then we need to know what is the address. Okay. So here that is why we create a struct like this, IP adder and kind and address in this one. And for the IP adder kind, we have two different choices, v4 and v6. Now let's create a variable and see how this thing goes. Let home is equal to IP adder, kind is equal to IP adder kind v4. This is how you access the enums value by using two columns. Okay. And then address is placed against string from 127.0.0. So now we have the version, we have the address, and we have another example here, loop back, which is equal to IP adder, and kind is v6, and we are using the string from this one. Okay. So there are some options that you are actually seeing for the normal enums. So we work with enums. Okay. We can create it like this. Simple. What we do is we create the different kinds of variants and put it in an enum, and then we can use it in different scenarios as required. So this enum can contain any different kinds of data type as well. You can use a struct, you can use a string, you can use any different kinds of enum variants inside the enum. Okay, I think the idea is clear. I'll continue with the important part of enum, that is the option type. And yeah, we have discussed about this. We can use this method to call the value from this one. Okay. And this is a similar representation where you are calling v4 and then you are putting a string inside. Now, similar to tuple where you can pass a value or that is a string into the version 4 and version 6. Now what we did, See, before in the previous example, we created a struct with the version and the address. Now we have actually encapsulated that also into the enum. Okay, this is optimization. Now what we do is we have an enum with version as the initial component, and then we will have the string, which is the parameter that is passed into the version. So now with the single enum IP adder, we actually have both the information, whether it is a version, its version and its string. So we know whether it is version 4 or version 6, and we will also have the IP address along with it. Okay, so this is how we actually use enums to describe different data types in a single enum definition. I think the idea is clear. So we use IPAddr v4, a function call that takes the string argument and then returns an instance of the IPAddr type. So you do not have to confuse it with the structs. Enums allow you to have different variants of a particular type, and you can also pass different kinds of parameters into the each variant, so that this enum can be used to describe what is happening with the particular data structure that you are creating. So you can also do similar to this. You can have multiple U8s. You can have a string. You can pass any number of required variables into the enums variant. Okay. Now we have discussed about enums. I think you got an idea. It is not much very complex. It is to see the different values or variations. Anyway, I will just show one more example. Like you can have the different variation. Like say I just want to pass a string for v4, and I want to pass u8, 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 and then u8 for v6. Okay, so for v4 I can have a string, and v6 I will have this one. I don't want this anymore, so just stop this, and we'll have the IP adder kind. So we don't want this as well, and let's create a similar thing, like let home is equal to what is present. We have the IP adder kind, or we can change its name to IP adder, because that is containing everything that is required. And we have what version? So initially we will have the version 4, and you can give the string directly. So you can take the string value and you can pass it to here. Okay, so this is how you work with a string. In a similar way, you can change the loop back address to rather than giving a string, you can give the set of numbers, so 6-digit numbers. Okay, that is all about enums. Okay, I think the idea is clear. Which of the following should we use when we have more than one variant for the same variable? Okay, the options are struct and enum. Now we have the second question, state true or false. We can create an instance of an enum with any of its variants. True, option number 1. Option number 2 is false. The first question was, which of the following should we use when we have more than one variant for the same variable? The answer is enum. That's right. 76 got it right. And the next question was, we can create an instance of an enum with any of its variants. The answer is true. 86% got it right. Nice. Okay.